I'm Joey.
I'm Cassidy. This is our 2017 Ford Transit van, medium roof, medium length. We bought this van brand new in 2017 and started converting it in December of 2017. So it took us about 6 months. Joey did a ton of research on batteries, solar, electrical, plumbing, and then as far as like ordering things, getting our windows, just getting things lined up. You know, there was kind of a process of installing one thing and then waiting for something else to show up and then installing that. So with us both working full-time jobs and working on the van on the weekends and after work, it took us about 6 months. So we finished up in June and hit the road. And our first trip was to Alaska.
And you've been traveling part-time ever since, every winter, right?
Yep. And we met Valerie down in the Everglades last year in Florida.
Yes.
Probably the reason why we met is because we have similar vans.
Yeah.
So hope you guys enjoy our tour, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask. A couple things we added just out since we're outside is we put the step on here that goes along the whole side here for the slider and the passenger door. Joey added an extra little step here just out of a piece of Trex and some old aluminum that we had. Makes it easy to come inside. We used all of our products that we used for our van conversion. We either try to do either low VOC, really low VOC, or no VOC. So this is the flooring that we used for our van. We had some left over. So we turned it into a table, an outdoor table. And this is marmoleum. It's no VOC, and you get it from like the green stores. We hardly ever use it because we just don't really sit outside often. Another really cool thing that we had added to the van was our custom screen made by RV Custom Screens. They're out of Canada. They can ship these to you and you can install them yourself. We had them install them for us, but if you had to do it yourself, it's pretty easy. This drops down, so it's a full screen, and the door just magnetizes like that. So it's really nice to come in and out of the van, especially in the summertime when there's bugs. And that sort of stuff, and you want a screen. Coming inside, so for our conversion fan, we went with 600 amp hours of lithium batteries. We did Life Blue, which is nice because you can go, there's an app that you can go on there and check the percentage of your batteries. It's not always 100% accurate, especially the longer that you go out and are plugged into shore power, but it's pretty nice that you have it kind of a gauge on where you're at for your battery life. This is our control panels right here. This is our, just kind of shows us how much solar we're getting and what watts and amps right there. This is our AC panel. So it just turns on. We usually keep it turned off because we don't use our AC power very often. This is our Magnum inverter. Joey could probably say a little bit more about that. I'll say this is our DC panel, DC AC panel. We have our pumps, water pump on there, our fridge, some fans, that sort of stuff. You can plug in 12 volt. And then we installed a S-bar heater made by Rixson. So the difference between just the regular S-bar and the Rixson heater, Rixson provides you with this control panel here, so you can turn on the hot water right here. You can turn on the furnace, and then you have 2 settings for the fan, so high or low. And we installed our fan blower underneath the passenger seat down there by your feet. And this is a hydronic heater, so it heats our hot water, it heats our air, and it also heats our gray water tanks. So we installed over 50 feet of radiator hose that goes underneath our van. We wrapped it around our gray water tank, and we wrapped our gray water tank in insulation as well too. So we are able to be out in freezing cold weather. We got down to 9 degrees just recently within the last couple of months, so no problem with for our refrigerator. We went with Vitrifrigo. It's the 4.2 cubic foot fridge. And I went with this model because it's the largest freezer I could find. Supposedly you can fit like a full box of frozen pizza in there. And we've been pretty happy with this one. No problems with the 2.5 years that we've used it. We did stainless steel countertops for our countertops. We had a friend of ours weld and make them, and been really pleased with these. Super durable. You can get little scratches in them, but buff them right out. You can set hot plates on them or hot pans, and doesn't burn or anything. For our water, we have 40 gallons of fresh water. We have 2 stainless steel tanks on each side, so one here and then one in this cupboard here. And we went with 2 tanks just to distribute the weight when the tanks are full, which is awesome. And we wanted to do stainless steel instead of plastic, just because we didn't want our water sitting in plastic. And we have never had to clean our tanks in the 2.5 years that we've been using our van, and we don't have any issues with mold or water stinking. One thing that we do to conserve water, we have it on both our kitchen faucet and our shower, is the trickle valve. So Joey put these on. You can go all the way up on your water, or you can go down to hardly anything. So we have that on both our, like I said, our kitchen there and on our shower there. This is the little mixer that we found for our shower, just a little marine mixer. Use stainless steel hose for our shower. We shower every day, both Joey and I, with our 40 gallons of water, and it typically lasts us about 6 to 7 days. And we went with a Berkey water filter because we were down in Florida. We had some sketchy water issues down there. So we have a Berkey filter to filter our drinking water. We have an inline 3M filter that's behind here. You can't really see it, the plastic covers it up. And then we also have a 1 micron filter for our hose that you can find like at Walmart or whatever. This is basically our storage for our dishes, food, and we went with a propane cooktop for our cooking, and we just recently upgraded to the refillable propane tanks. We had used the dark green ones for a while and just decided to go with these because they're more durable and easily refillable, and they are actually, you can legally refill those. We go through probably about 1 of these tanks every week and a half, and we cook every single day, breakfast and lunch, and we use it also to boil water. We do have an electric tea kettle, but that takes a lot of power, and we found just recently that it's easier to refill these tanks and then worry about our solar. I'll show you guys our toilet. We originally had a cassette toilet for about 2 years, and then Joey made us our composting toilet when we were home this last summer, and it's kind of a work in progress still. It works just fine, but as you can tell, we haven't completely finished the aesthetics on there. So I'll show you guys what we did. We just used kitty litter jug for our pee collector there. We put a little valve on there. You can easily turn it off, and then a quick release, boom, just pop that off, take the jug out, and do that. Inside of the toilet, it's just a 5-gallon bucket. We use the coconut coir or peat moss for our media in there. We purchased this little funnel for the pee diverter online because that was the best thing we could find to divert the pee instead of using a funnel. It was a little expensive. It was about $40, $45 online, but it came also with the adapter to hook up an exhaust hose. So I'll turn that on. So you can leave that fan going while you're doing your business. You can leave the fan going if you want to just dry out the media or the pee funnel thing there. And for our mixer, for the media mixer, we just used a Milwaukee drill. So I'll turn it on so you can hear it. Compared to like a Nature's Head, it makes it really easy to mix our media. We don't have to crank it at all. That does the job for us, and it's worked just fine. We do have the Milwaukee arm that comes in on the bottom. If you have questions about how we built it, you can always message us and we can give you guys some ideas.
Yeah, we'll put the link in the description below.
Valerie put it on there?
Yeah.
For our shower is pretty basic. What we use is just a granite sink. It's just a kitchen sink. And we had our friend make us the stainless steel mount just to mount it down onto our floor. It works just fine for us to shower. And we came up with this shower rod. It's used stainless steel tubing that we had out of our aquaponics system. And it's great because our shower curtain comes all the way around, so we have plenty of room to move around, like our shoulders and that kind of stuff. So it works fine for us. A plus for us having our shower like this instead of being enclosed is when we shower, it's able to dry out the humidity pretty fast because, again, in vans, the humidity can be an issue. Ours dries out pretty quick. We just let our curtain hang up and it's pretty dry within half an hour, 45 minutes, depending on what the weather's like outside. For our bed, we did a bed that these can pop up and you can walk completely out the back of the van, and you can put these up to the side and use them as cushions. We honestly hardly ever do that just because it's kind of a pain to take the whole bed apart and put everything out, but we needed the capability to use this as our work van when we're home for painting, putting ladders in here, putting all of our tools back here. So we couldn't do a fixed bed. It would have been nice to do a fixed bed, but that wasn't really an option for us, and it's nice to be able to have the capability to walk out the back of the van if we need to. Kind of jumping around here, but we did the max air fan. We did the one that comes with the remote. So it's nice to have the remote if you want, if you're sitting up in the front or you're in the back and you don't want to get up and turn the fan on or off. We haven't really had too many issues with the fan. We had to replace the motor once because of some squeaking issues. You have to clean them every once in a while. For our lights, we just did probably the same thing that most everybody does on their lights. We went with the small little dimmer valves. These are super easy to install. They were kind of expensive. They're about 35 bucks a piece, but they're super tiny and you can dim the lights down to just about nothing there. We also installed some reading lights. We put 3 of these halogen little lights in here, reading lights. So if we didn't want to have these LED lights on bombarding us with blue light, we can just turn these on for reading if we want. This is just our little charging station, so it's 2 USB and one of these cigarette lighters. Again, we have only 2 AC outlets. We keep our power turned off when we're not using it because we don't want to be by the EMF. We're kind of weirdos about that kind of stuff. Not everybody cares about it, but we do. We installed a curtain back here for our bedroom because in the summertime we have a little air conditioner that Joey retroed. It was a zero breeze that he had to completely take apart and see if we can use it back here. But so we put these curtains in. They're just blackout curtains. Again, we reused our stainless steel tubing from our aquaponics system that we had. These curtains are nice because if I want to be asleep and Joey wants to get up, he can sit up there in the front and it blocks out the light. And also, when we're sleeping too, helps block out noise. We got a little, I'll climb back here and show you guys. Joey got this little air filter in Japan. It's great to clean the air and it runs off of DC power. So we just plug it into a little cigarette outlet that we have down there. We have a screen in our back too, again by the same company that made our slider screen. And this is great. It folds down here halfway if we want, so we can still access the bottom of their bed for stuff back there. It comes completely blacked out, or you can have it as the screen. I just have it rolled up right now because it's been kind of cold where we're at. We made these filters for our little motion windows that we install here on the side. It just helps prevent some dust and stuff from getting back here when we have our windows open. And so for our roof, we used, this is just apple pie plywood. It's formaldehyde free, there's no chemicals or anything in it. And then we use the Rubio Monocoat stain to stain it. Again, that's no VOC stain. And that stuff was really awesome. I was amazed at how easy it was to apply and how well it's held up as far as getting moisture or anything like that. For our walls, we just use this PVC plastic that comes in 4x8 sheets that you can find like at Lowe's. It's been awesome because we really had no idea what we're going to use for our walls. Since we are a shorter van on height and length, we kind of had a compromise on our bed. So we sleep the width of the bed and not long ways like maybe some people do. And we had to do that just because of our size. So we're able to both sleep this way and our feet clear. And we didn't fur out our walls very much, just because to save on room. So we had enough room to stretch our legs completely out. So we only have 1x1s in here. And that's why we wanted to use a material that was really lightweight and didn't add much to our walls. So we originally started out using it in our shower, and I decided to use it for our entire van because of how easy it was to install. And plus side too, if we need to do anything as far as maybe run some more electrical wires, check moisture issues, that sort of stuff, these screws come out and we can pull that down. Of course, along the windows we had to kind of plastic weld this stuff, so that would be a little bit harder to take down. But we've added some more electrical back here, and it was pretty easy to just take these screws out and add our wires back there when we needed to do that. I did a video on our bed. I just used a foam topper that's Tale from Plush Beds. So again, there's no VOCs in there, there's no off-gassing, there's no smell from it. And then I used organic cotton batting for just a layer on top. And it's actually incredibly uncomfortable, and you don't even feel the differences in the cushion slits here when the sheet is on it. If the sheet was off, you do kind of slide around a little bit, but we always have the sheet on there, so it's never been an issue for us.
Can we see the individual cushions?
Yeah.
Or...
So here's our the cushions that we have here.
They have a zipper on them.
Yep,
So you can take
they have zippers on them, so
fabric
you can take the fabric off, wash it. I've only honestly done that like once because it's kind of a pain to get the cotton batting and stuff to not stick to the cotton material here. And I bought this organic cotton canvas online. It's been really durable. Great stuff. But if you're looking for a pretty reasonable bed that doesn't off-gas like most beds do because they have fire retardant in them, this is a good choice. And I just use a queen sheet. I had one custom made, but we have two sheets, so I just use the queen sheet and we just tuck it in because it's a little big for our bed, but that works fine. And then for our blinds, I went ahead and made these just out of the reflectives, and then I used some ripstop with magnets, and they have been just fine. They just magnetize on like that. I added some of this extra blackout curtain stuff on there just to go on the metal to help when it's cold outside, to give the metal a little bit of protection. And I made them for all of our windows, even the front windows there. As you can tell, they've been a little abused and they're quite worn, but
so the middle of it is like insulation.
Reflective, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Just that stuff
and
there.
Just put the fabric
super
on it.
thin. Yep. And then I use the ripstop because it doesn't absorb moisture. It's just like a tent material, or like what you'd find for like a windbreaker or that sort of stuff. And so yeah, I just went ahead and made them because they were too expensive for us to buy. So we did that.
And you have your smoke alarm back there.
We have our little smoke detector that went off here while Valerie is filming us. No problem with our gray water, it didn't freeze. That's our fire alarm.
Is there a fire?
Do you want to pause it?
And I guess yeah, it's working. We don't know what it was it was detecting, but yeah, it picked up something. So
it's very cute back there, though.
Yeah,
it doesn't look like your regular smoke alarm.
Just a little tiny one.
Yeah.
And for our clothes, we just recently put just a plastic Rubbermaid tote down here that we just have drawers. It's pretty, you know, it's nothing fancy. I wanted to build some drawers and stuff, but this was a quick fix instead of digging through like a little box tote, which we had done for like 2 years. And finally I was like, we need drawers. These totes are super durable, and they have a little click thing that locks them into place. We have a little light down here that turns on for when we come down. And then we have our underwear in little separate drawers down there too. That work just fine for all of our crap.
If you don't mind, we can see like what you use these for storage. Like what do you store in these?
So we use this. This is our silverware, spice drawer, pan drawer. We keep all of our stuff in there. In this drawer here, we have our tea kettle. We have our coffee grinder, our toaster, oils, that sort of stuff. And that's where this propane cooktop sits, is right in here when we're driving or whatever. Okay. So we've got quite a bit of room.
And then, so you have the tongue and groove to right here.
Yep.
To keep it closed.
Yeah, and then we also did a latch system on that one too, just to make sure it doesn't open up at all with the weight. Okay. But we did the little, I don't know what you call those tongue and grooves, I guess, for most of our drawers. This one we did a magnet system, so when you pull this out, that comes up and then it locks the drawer into place. And you put that on, it opens that one. And for this one's really heavy. We have our blender in here, our mini juicer, our French press, and all of our other glass stuff, stainless steel utensils. We got these little containers. They're stainless steel. They're U-Conserve. They're great. As you can see how compact they are. They just go right into each other. So we have several of those. And the nice thing is if we buy ice cream, the whole half gallon fits into this one. And it fits perfectly in our fridge because the half-gallon container doesn't fit in our freezer. So that's awesome. And on that one, we did a latch like that, just so, because this is called our Dangerous.
It's very, very heavy.
Yes, it's come out one time on us, and it was not very fun.
Oh.
So down here, this is just kind of a random junk drawer with our vitamins. We store onions, that sort of stuff, our little blender down there. And We have a 3-quart Instapot, which is awesome for van life because we can cook beans in like 20 minutes. We can cook pasta, we can cook meats, we can cook all kinds of stuff. And the nice thing about the Instapot is that it will draw about 67 amps for probably about 15 minutes. And then since it's under pressure, it turns off. So you're not using a ton of power, but we're able to still use it because we have the AC power. And then we just have some random crackers, chips, snack drawer, that kind of stuff in there. We installed the swivel seat, the Scopemia, I think is how you pronounce it. And that was the best one that we found because it doesn't raise your seat. It raises your seat in the minimal amount. I had leftover material from our bed, that's the organic cotton canvas, that we wanted to be able to take our seat covers off and wash them since we have the wool ones underneath. And we weren't able to take those off and wash them. So when we're on the road, it's nice to be able to take those off and wash them in the washing machine. And just last year I installed this, it's just cargo netting. We throw all of our jackets, sweaters, that kind of stuff in there. And then when we don't want our blackout curtains down, I fold them in there. And for our blackout curtains, we just added magnets to the sides there. And so if we were just hanging out here in the van and we don't want anybody outside to see our lights on or anything, we just put these up, magnets. Yep, more of the stainless steel tubing that we used from our aquaponics system, and that's boom how those things work right there. So
you sewed all of this on your sewing machine?
We sewed these ones by hand actually. You can tell the nice fabrication job, the stitch job that we did there.
Nice.
Okay, for our water, we have I think it's just a 1.5 gallon Berkey water filter, and we also have a inline 3M filter right there that you can see. And we also have a 1 micron filter that hooks up to our hose while we refill our tanks. So our water is like triple filtered. The Berkey's been awesome. We were able to it sits just on our countertop. We don't have to take it down at all when we drive. We mounted it to the wood that we have back here, and then use these twisty tie things that
clamps too.
Twisty ties, and then the clamps here. And the only thing, every once in a while we get some rattling from just the top if we're going on a bumpy road. So we put a little piece of cork in there to keep that down. But other than that, the Berkey's been awesome in here. Super nice to have a filter on the road. Yeah. And
it filters really well, so you can drink almost any water you put in there, right?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it removes viruses and bacteria. Okay, yeah, it does. So, and we didn't go with the fluoride filters just because they are plastic, and
we don't want our water sitting in plastic.
Yeah, we don't want our water to be sitting in plastic. So
we don't even have to zip it; just drop it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, you don't have to zip it. Yeah.
So if you come out here, I think it looks cool. But wow. Or maybe it's the lighting. So what I do is I go out in reverse. Big time.
Should I talk about our screens?
Sure.
You're down.
So this is our screen door when it is down, and again you can see we've had this for 2.5 years now, and it's still in great shape. Again, it makes it super easy to come in and out when there's bugs outside. And one thing I just wanted to show people is we used these little chamois. This is just a mini one of this. I don't know about you guys, but we get moisture in our van, like on our windows, and for a long time we used rags to wipe that up, and these little chamois work awesome. We dry out our window and then we just wring them out, and most of the water comes out of there. So we don't have wet rags sitting around in our van. You could probably use it for just about anything wet in your van if you wanted to dry stuff up. This one was $1. We had this one just from having a car. And last thing I'll show you guys inside is we have just a little Dyson. This thing is amazing because it comes with a little DC charger. So again, we are able to just plug it into the outlet here instead of having to turn on our AC power and plug it into the actual outlet. And this also has a HEPA filter in it, so when you're vacuuming inside, which would probably vacuum like 10 times a day just because hair and dust gets inside, you're not getting dust inside. And it's super easy to dump. You just boom, pull that up, this bottom part falls out. Easy to clean the filter and everything, so kind of spendy, but they're definitely worth it. So that's that little guy there.
So for our garage, we decided to go out with an exterior garage. We did have our garage originally inside of the van, but with some of the things that we carry in here, the smells, we didn't want to have in the van. So we ended up purchasing this box on Amazon. It's actually a pretty nice box because with one hand you can open and close the the box because of this. It actually has foam insulation pumped in here, and so it's very rigid. The box is set up on an arm, so we can. Oh, there's a pin over here, so let's take that one. Oh. So it comes out on an arm, so you can actually bring it out. And there's a little pin that goes in here, and then you just lock it into place here, and then you can get access into the back of the van. So you can still open this up, make sure nothing comes flying out. But we did have to install a piece of duct tape with some foam just to prevent the door from hitting there in certain situations, and so that it allows us to access the back. It doesn't allow us to open the door all the way back, but it does allow us to get to the most important part of our van, which is this area back here where we store some of our other stuff, food, and it's kind of our pantry area now. Former garage, become pantry. And then this is our bug screen for the back of the van that just drops down, kind of what Cassidy was explaining previously.
I can drop it down.
Yeah, it is actually. I think it's amazing.
It's so cool how it's all one piece.
Yes. What
Look
was
at that.
sick is when you're in hot weather, it's incredible.
I want to zip it all the way.
Yeah, you have a nice screen.
Yeah.
It lets cool air
Yeah, so this
in.
lets in cool air when we're in hot areas. You can roll it up. It tucks right into the arm here, and then you can zip this up and be all closed up. So
Very cool.
So originally, we ended up purchasing, this is called a Stowaway 2 hitch mount. Originally, I did want to purchase the Wilco. The Wilco will actually swing all the way out, and there's a lot of videos on YouTube about it. The reason we went with the Stowaway was mainly it was shipping issues. We couldn't get the device from Wilco early enough. And the other reason is this hitch already comes with a mount. So on the Wilco, you actually have to purchase another hitch device to mount a box, and this one allows you to actually come with the mount. We did have to put some reinforcements on the bottom, some aluminum stock, because the box is this UWS box is a little flimsy, but overall we're pretty happy with the box and its storage capabilities. What else, Melanie? What else should I talk about?
What's under the bed?
So one thing I forgot to mention with our hydronic heater is and with the Rixon is that comes with like a radiator. I don't know exactly how many gallons it is, but we put that radiator underneath our bed here. It's hard to see because it's buried with all of our stuff. We do have a video that we posted on YouTube if you have any questions on how we installed it, what we put, to install it and everything. But the nice thing is some people will put the radiators plugged or hooked up to their actual engine. We didn't opt for that because we didn't want to have our coolant warm in times when it was actually warm outside. So we did it with that little radiator down here. It's nice because when it's really cold outside, it actually heats our bed up a little bit too, so it radiates the heat out as well. So that's kind of a plus for putting it inside. So
one of the nice things about that Rixon tank underneath our bed is when we are hooked up to shore power, our entire system no longer runs off of gasoline and will heat the van, gray water and everything with the electricity instead of using gasoline. And it's still fairly efficient because it's heating water instead of just air. Our van, from a utility perspective, has 40 gallons of water storage, 28 gallons of gray capacity, 600 amps of lithium power, and a 2800 watt Magnum inverter. It's the 2812 version. So one of the nice things about ours is our gray water tank. Our gray water tank is actually insulated, and it has 8 feet of hydronic hose that runs with our heating system, that when our system is heating, it automatically keeps the tank at a less than freezing temperature. We haven't had any problems with it freezing and sub-freezing temperatures yet. And this was all made with really cheap materials that you can purchase at Lowe's. There's a video on YouTube about that. Our Rixon heater, our actual furnace is installed just right underneath here, because it is a very small heater. And this is the exhaust that comes out of it. This is the way we set up our exhaust. What else, Valerie?
The solar. Yeah. Are we able to see it from?
You can. Let me close the door.
Okay.
This pin pops out. You swing it around, and then it actually just latches into place. And when you're on the road, it actually, I do like this, although it's kind of a pain to put this in, it does take some time. This is nice because it actually, when you're on bumpy roads, you can never really tell you're carrying this thing around because this thing actually screws in, and it probably makes it a little safer because it'd be hard for something like that to get loose.
Yeah.
You do got to come back and put a pin back in over here, which is also a secondary safety device, which I really like. This right here is how we fill up our water. On the other side of here is just a quick connect hose. Should I open it up and show you, or yeah? We just put these little boxes on here. They're just electrical boxes, and we put some screens. We just have a quick connect here with a pressure regulator, and then we just plug in our water here. Our system is very unique in the sense that our tanks, because there's one on each side of the van for weight distribution, it requires our system to be somewhat pressurized. So when our pump is actually running, it's actually pulling air from here and also the other side here. The drawback of that is when we do fill up with water, we'll fill up most of our water here, but because of the way pressure works, we actually do have to plug into the other side, which is why I did quick releases on them. And the nice thing is when you're driving, you really notice that the van actually handles better when it's full of water versus the other way around. So this is the way it worked out for us. The other reason we needed to do this was because our plumbing runs through the top of the van. We didn't have very much room because of my height and being able to fit in a medium roof van, and we were concerned about the hose, the plumbing freezing. We put it on the roof of the van so we wouldn't have a problem with that. The van has 540 watts of solar power. We previously ran a generator, and this is actually our gas tank that we now have just in case of a backup, in case we run out of gas or we're going somewhere where we want an extra 3 gallons of gas for a little extended range. We no longer actually use this very much because we switched over to boiling water with our propane tanks, which we refill with a 5-pound propane tank. One of these little ones, it's much more efficient than, generating, starting a motor, charging and recharging your batteries. So ended up switching to that.
That's how you get the water?
Yeah, so this is a hose that we use for our water. It's just a Camco water, and then what we also do is we have 2 of these short little hoses that most of the time you can actually just refill with these, and you don't have to get a hose out, and especially in cold temperatures where the hoses become a little less pliable, it makes it a lot easier to fill up. We got a little barbecue back here. This is some of our compost media, and then just a bunch of other junk. The really nice thing about having this box is when you're at an area where you're either filling up with water or you got to get the mechanic suit out to do some work, you don't have to open the back of the van anymore. So in cold temperatures, this is pretty nice. For that reason, it also doesn't let a bunch of dirt into your van when you're in dusty areas. So this thing, alongside from the smells and things like that you have to have, really is a nice added feature for us.
Yes.
What else now?
Maybe the backup camera?
Oh, okay. So one of the things that I did need to do in order to do this box was install a backup camera that was above the box. Our previous backup camera was like most 2017 Ford Transit models, goes right here. What I did do is I purchased a kit that allowed that camera to just connect right to our factory screen. I did have a little bit of a programming issue about a month ago where I did have to reinstall the software. It's a Metrix or Metra, I believe is a company, so at your own risk. The cameras worked fine. We did add some silicone around the edge, as some people have noted online, just to prevent some water from coming in. But I actually am glad I switched to the camera because it does kind of give you a better angle at a higher area to make sure you're not hitting branches or things that are higher up in the air versus this camera that was just pointing down here at the ground. So our tires, we went with KO2 255/70/16 tires. This is the biggest tire that will fit on this van. This is a 2017 without rubbing on the front, and this tire gives you a bigger tread tire wheel size, so it does handle a little bit better in off-roads. They're 10-ply tires. We're really happy we went with these because we do drive on a lot of bumpy roads. They helped with the drive in the van. They did affect our miles per gallon. We did lose about a mile per gallon in fuel efficiency because of them, but it was a nice trade-off.
Okay, so a lot of people are afraid of using propane in their vans. We have our door open right now just because we've kind of been coming in and out. whenever we cook, we just turn our fan on low, crack the window a little bit. We've never had an issue with having too much CO2 build up in the van. We do have a CO2 detector just in case. But this thing is super easy to use. It's the gas one. We bought it on Amazon. I think it was like $35. And super easy to use. I'm going to turn it off and show you guys how easy it is to turn on. So it's just one stroke there. I'll turn it off once more and show you. So, and it's great. We liked this one more than the other ones maybe you can buy at like REI or Walmart and stuff like that. It's because I don't know the exact BTU on this. You'd have to 7,500 BTU. It's not super powerful to the point where it's gonna burn our ceiling or get too hot up here, but it definitely works great for us to cook our food every day on it. So that's what we use.
Maybe I'll do an introduction. Well, I'll do it later. I don't know what to say.
Is it in the front? Oh, here?
Oh, just right here. Yeah, just in front of it.
It's on already?
Yeah.
Hey, go ahead, you introduce us.
You gonna cut this off?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I'm not gonna put everything.
Yeah. So you can cut all this stuff.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Totally.
So if we didn't want to have our I'll turn that one on. Wait. I don't know, it feels loose. The thing came off. You have to cut this out.
Don't worry.
Mess with it. It like came completely off.
What in the hell? Well, van lifers don't do this at home.
Did we already talk about the Berkey? I can't remember.
We can do it again if you want.
Oh, if we already talked about it, it's great. I just can't remember.
Yeah, you did.
You did? Okay.
Well, can I do it again?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you can come up. Like,
Okay. Okay.
Do you want me to do it?
Sure. Yeah, you can just like, if you want to film it.
Yeah, so just go up. This is just well, it's loose on there. I need to ratchet it on the controller, and we're working that out. Actually, can I just do that over? Yeah.
Can you think of anything else, Cassidy? I can't think of anything. I guess I'll do some B-roll and then get the drone out. Maybe I should.
Yeah, it's not windy, huh?
Yeah, it's
we
not.
Can start a fire.
Oh,
Should I take my shirt off?
Okay.
So then it doesn't like look like it's freezing out here and I'm wearing a
It'll feel like it actually feels good out here or something.
Yeah. Ooh, it's warm.